right, so we're getting some breaking news, and Jeff Passan is reporting from ESPN that Brian Snitker is not, I repeat, Brian Snitker is not going to return as the manager of the Braves. He informed, according to Passan, the team of his decision yesterday. He is going to remain with the organization in a senior advisory capacity. So we'll see what happens with the Braves, how they respond to this. And once we find out more information, you will find out more information. So again, if you're just tuning in, according to Jeff Passan, Brian Snitker is not going to return as the manager of the Braves. So if this is true, Chris, let the search begin.
Yeah, and we knew it was going to be quick. We said by the end of week was a close of business on Friday. Well, it's morning time, coffee time on Wednesday. If and when it's all true, I'm sure there's verifications and there's going to be I's dotted, T's crossed, and then it will officially become hunting season. And Alex Anthopoulos will have to address the idea of, believe me, he's not giving away much, but we'll have an idea of what he believes the attributes. Let's go with that. You like that word? I believe Alex Anthopoulos, as early as today, will have to at least give us, all of us, the attributes that he'll be looking for in the next manager for the Atlanta Braves.
Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but you can put forth some theories. Do you try to stay in-house and give Walt Weiss the job? Do you bring back a guy that was just fired in Ron Washington to be a part of the staff? Do you make Ron Washington the manager? He brings back Eric Young, who was on the staff with Anaheim and is not going to be, assuming they fire him, on the staff because the new manager is going to come in and pick his coaches. So do you kind of sort of run it back without Brian Snitker, or do you go outside of the organization?
Yeah. And again, everybody will have 9 different opinions about it, and then we'll get a list or we'll hear about rumored candidates, and then we'll find out who they actually spoke to when we find out who they actually spoke to. Ron Washington's not going to be a manager again. You can't go through quadruple bypass surgery or whatever the hell it is. It's bad. And then at his age, be a manager again. Ron Washington should be and will be in baseball. I have no doubt in my mind Ron Washington will be in baseball. If you ask me, would I like to see him across the street? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Whoever the manager is, whatever direction they possibly go. If you told me that Ron Washington was back and Eric Young was back, I would say good. Good, because we got truth tellers. And it's not that nobody over there, and it's not that the people over there aren't. It's just a different voice. Ron Washington can say stuff that make you both laugh, think, and quite honestly, you go, oh, he's crazy. Like, I've had those 3 thoughts run through my head as I've sat down with him.
Like all in like 15 seconds.
He's absolutely right. Oh, wait, he's crazy. What was the third thing I said? Oh, no, those might have been the 2 things. He's absolutely right, but that man is crazy. And
hilarious.
He's honest.
That was the third.
He's honest.
And the fourth is he's honest.
Yeah, he is. If you sit down with Ron Washington with a question, you better be ready for a straight answer. Now, again, it's going to sound at times crazy. It's going to sound at times prophetic. It's going to have a hint of humor, but there's also going to be a hint of life, maybe 2 doses of life, and then you're going to walk away and you're going to have a whole bunch of thoughts running through your head.
So let the games begin. Brian Snitker, according to Jeff Passan, who's a pretty reliable source, is saying, if you're just tuning in, Brian Snitker is not going to return as the manager of the Braves. Told the team yesterday he's going to stay with the team in some sort of a capacity, which is his right, which is not a surprise either. You bring up the term golf shirt guy, that's what he's going to be. He'll put the uniform on, too. Chipper used to do that, still does that from time to time. He's still going to be around. He's just not going to manage the team every day.
He'll have a locker in Northport. He doesn't get to have the manager's office, but if he wants to change with coaches one day. Now, again, the uniform thing is for spring training. That's not an everyday thing up here when the big boys start playing all their big boy games, the 162. But he'll have a uniform down there and he'll have a change of golf shirts down in Northport. He'll show up there when he wants to. He wants to be there for 2 weeks, he'll be there for 2 weeks. 2 days, 3 days, get in and get out. Bring the grandkids, don't bring the grandkids. He will have more choices in his life than ever before. I was thinking about this. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. I don't know if somebody really has the bandwidth to go look this up, but if you think about 49 years in baseball, and you think about coaching and managing at the minor league level, at the major league level, doing both of those jobs, being a coach and being a manager at both levels for that many years, how many guys in baseball do you actually think will have worked, been around, coached, or managed more players than Brian Snitker?
I mean,
there's not a lot.
He's going to be 70 years old. He's been in this
49
game
years.
For 49 years. I don't know if anybody still in baseball can lay to that claim. Because Bruce Bochy, you could have made a case for him, but as of right now, he's not in baseball.
Here's the difference. Boch didn't manage in the minor leagues or coach in the minor leagues. The minor leagues, you churn and burn. There's a group here and then they're gone. That guy has been around, my guess, professional. if not major league players, professional baseball players. There aren't many in the history of the game that have been around more professional baseball players than Brian Snitker. There just can't be. Pop quiz. How many different managers, when I want to bring this up with him as well, how many different managers do you think have won a World Series in the history of baseball?
In the history of baseball?
Yeah, how many managers have won a World Series?
Again, knowing I'm really bad at this
you're
game.
bad at numbers.
I'll say 350.
Okay. Well, that would be crazy because the World Series is really only 120-something years old. So that'd be really bad unless
I told you I'm really bad at this.
Unless there were dual managers that I didn't know about. We have co-managers.
Maybe back in the old days, that's
not. That's not. As a matter of fact,
in the dead ball era, they used to have 7 managers.
That's not true. They didn't even have 7 coaches. They hardly had 7 players.
I don't know how many. You got the number.
87. I looked at this last night. I was thinking about what was going to maybe be the announcement this week, and I'm ready to tell him. He's one of 87 guys in the history of baseball to be a World Series winning manager.
Well, if this rings true, then hopefully we can get Snit on the program, hopefully in studio, at least on the horn with us whenever the Braves decide, if this is true, decide to make things official. If you're just tuning in, just found out about 5 minutes ago that according to Jeff Passan from ESPN, Brian Snitker will not return as the manager of the Braves. He informed the team of his decision yesterday. He will remain with the organization in a senior advisory capacity. So let's line up some calls, get your thoughts on Snit's retirement, if you will, if this is true, and what do you think should be next for the Braves. We'll take some calls on the other side. 404-231-1680, 404-231-1680, as the 10 o'clock hour is presented by Mike Patton Honda, not just a dealership, a family business for more than 50 years. And you can shop their huge inventory at MikePattonHonda.com. These are the headlines, what's coming up on the program. Obviously, we'll take some calls and get your thoughts on Brian Snitker stepping down, and the Braves had a comment about that as well that we'll get to on the other side. Can they now move forward with a name that you will trust? Who would that name be? 404-231-1680. That snitch line has been set up in college football. I promise we'll get to that as we go on campus.
I think there should be a snitch line in everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Every walk of life should have a snitch line.
We'll get to that.
Nobody likes snitches, but it's not snitching if it's true, heinous, or putting people in harm's way.
We'll go on campus at 11:20, and we'll talk about, between squeezing in some calls on Brian Snitker, how perhaps we've already seen from a team out west the future of Jalen Walker with the Falcons. All of that and more. And the headlines are brought to you by Atlanta Basement Systems, your expert in basement waterproofing, crawl space, foundation, concrete repair solutions. Atlanta Basement Systems, all things basement-y. Brian Snitker out with the Braves. Your thoughts, your calls when we come back. Cellini and Dimino, The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM, and for free, The Fan app. 1027, Cellini Dimino. It's The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM. Absolutely free. You can listen via the Fan app, as the 10 o'clock hour is brought to you by Mike Patton Honda. Brian Snitker stepping down as the manager of the Braves. We'll try to squeeze in some other things going on, including some Falcons continuing to make some big noise when we get a chance. Going to take your calls, 404-231-1680. The Braves are going to have a press conference at 11 o'clock announcing future plans as Brian Snitker is stepping down. They officially put out a press release acknowledging what Jeff Passan talked about earlier in the day. He is going to step down, going to remain, Brian Snitker, with the organization in a senior advisory capacity. That press conference is going to be live right here on The Fan at 11 o'clock. And Dimino, I know you're going to go across the street. Like the Roadrunner, you're going to blaze a trail and get over there as soon as you can.
Yeah, my blazing a trail days are kind of past me. I will walk with great pace is how I see it.
It's all relative. But again, taking your calls, 404-231-1680. Tim is in Barnesville. Tim, welcome to Dimino and Cellini here on The Fan.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
This is such a Snit move. I mean, and by that I mean this is at the most optimum time to make the call. He did it in such a low key manner. You know, the wheels are spinning in the background right now about who will replace him. And so, I mean, he's just such a damn good Brave, and I wonder just sometimes how different the world would have been had Freddie Freeman not stormed in and said, "That's your manager right there."
You know, it's an interesting point because he was going to get fired. When Coppola, if you don't know the story, and John Hart, they were here, he was out. And then Alex Anthopoulos takes over after Coppola gets in that trouble and says, might as well keep him for another year. Freddie sticks with him as well. And 10 years later, in another World Series title, here we are. And, yeah, Brian Snitker, we talked about this when Bobby Cox signed that one-year deal in 2009. Was going to stick around for one more year. And I don't know if he wanted the big retirement tour, but everybody knew he was going to call it quits. I'm not sure Snit's that type of guy. You know him better than me. I don't know if he wanted that.
Yeah,
and
no. I don't. Listen.
There's a lot of moving parts here. I'm not saying it was solely his decision, but I'm not sure he would have been comfortable doing that.
No, because every night it's a different set of circumstances. There's a countdown, and there's what if it, I told you, June 8th, it's just a random date. What if it's not going well? And then the question is, are you regretting the idea that you came back? Your 8 games under 500, are you regretting this? Or you're 12 games over 500. Hey, man, you really sure? Did you make the right decision? You don't want to stick around for a couple of more years? That's what happens when you have the long-term version of this. This is now clean. You're cutting it cleaner, and now you're going to have an availability of candidates that Alex Anthopoulos is going to have to go through to hire what he hopes is the right manager.
Steve, you're up next in Atlanta. Steve, welcome to Cellini and Dimino here on The Fan.
Hey, good day, gentlemen. Hey, I don't know anything. You guys know way more than me, but just watching and listening through the year, I'm wondering if this wasn't a mutual decision. I wonder if Alex wanted Snit back, if Snit wanted to come back. I think it's kind of both. The next thing I got is I'm just wondering, is DeRosa going to be on this list, Chris? I know he's a friend of yours, and he's always been mentioned.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you guys have a great day, and thanks for the good covering of it.
Yeah, thanks. Listen,
Appreciate you listening and calling, Steve.
Martin Prado, Eric Hinsky, David Ross, and Mark DeRosa were the guys that I had mentioned while they were still playing. There's 4 guys that I've talked about who I thought Chipper's in another level because that's an easy conversation to have. But there were the other versions of guys. You call them grinders. You call them guys who whatever. Those are the 4 guys that while they were playing, I looked around and asked people. I said, yeah, him. Yeah, no, yeah, him. And it's only 4 in 30-something years that I thought, okay, that's everything you want in a manager. And I felt it even more about DeRosa when he was in San Francisco and then in Washington, because I talked to Davey Johnson about him. I talked to Bruce Bochy about him. I said, okay, I was absolutely right, if he wants to. 5 years ago, before Snit was ever thinking about any of this, probably before they won that World Series, I said, if I'm lining up the next guy for me, that's who it would be.
And if you're wondering, Mark DeRosa does have a tie to Alex Anthopoulos. They were in Toronto together. So they have been a part of the same organization. Obviously, DeRosa, a part of this organization years ago with Bobby Cox and John Schuerholz. Now, back to his other question, and not to repeat ourselves, but it's also something we discussed. It's got to be a two-way street. What did you say? Everybody's got a boss. Snit had a boss. His boss is Alex Anthopoulos. And to a certain extent, I guess he still is. So did he want him back? Was this a mutual decision? If they didn't want him back and they gave him the option to retire, this is, again, what Brian Snitker is going to do. He's not going to make any noise.
No, and he's going to be around the organization. He's going to get the other benefits of his life. He's going to have a contract. He's going to spend time with his family. He's going to get to do things he's never done before. He'll miss the game. And I told you, the big thing with guys like him, 50 years. Go do something. Go do anything for 50 years. Go do anything for 10 years, 20 years, and love it. And love it, not hate it. It's not drudgery. There's going to be a Tuesday in May where he's going to go for a walk in the morning. And then it's going to be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's going to go, oh, what do I do now? Do I just go for another walk? That's not going to be satisfying to him. Being with your grandchildren is going to be satisfying. There's going to be a day when they're not around, a week where they're not around. You're going to go, okay, what do I do now? He's going to, and I use the word suffer, not capital S, capital U. I'm talking about baseball lifer suffer. He's going to have, as much as he might be resigned to this, as much as he'll put on a happy face, but also tell you he'll miss this, there are going to be days when he should be at the ballpark. There are days he should be in Chicago on a road trip.
Which he can still do now.
But he's not going to know what to do with himself.
No, he's not. He can only spend so much time with his grandchildren, and he really loves his grandchildren. But in case you're just tuning in, Brian Snitker is not going to return as the manager of the Braves. The Braves are going to hold a press conference in less than 30 minutes from now that we will carry live right here on your flagship for Braves baseball, The Fan. What is up next? What are your thoughts on Snit stepping down? Taking your calls at 404-231-1680. Ken is in Riverdale. Ken, welcome to Cellini and Dimino here on The Fan.
Good morning, Nick and Chris. I haven't talked to you guys in quite a while. But I just want to say this, man. I want to thank Snitker, if you're listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service, man. You were great as a manager. You're a great human being. You got us the world title. You stuck in this game for 50 years, man. 50 years. Let that roll around in your head a little bit.
I agree with you.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And as far as our next manager, I can't remember his name. 2017 Chicago Cubs manager. Help me out, Chris.
Joe Madden.
Joe Madden. I would love fiery Joe to come to Atlanta, man. I think he would light a fire on his team, and along with Washington and the other guy you mentioned,
Eric Young. I would love to see those guys can come back to this franchise because behind the scenes they meant so much to this organization.
That was real. It was palpable.
They really did.
Yeah, it's palpable. Look, there were times when a guy leaves the building and you go, okay, I don't know what he was doing really. It wasn't a bad guy. I just don't know if there was an impact. Those were guys that had an impact. And whether they're available or whether they want to be or whether whoever might come in says that's a couple of the guys that I would like around, I'm just telling you, I know what the organization knows. It was palpable. And some coaches, quite honestly, aren't. It doesn't mean, again, they didn't do their job to the best of their ability, didn't even do their job poorly. It's just that some guys leave more of a fingerprint on things, and Ron Washington leaves a fingerprint. Eric Young leaves a fingerprint where he goes. And
certainly, I would imagine, anyway, that would be a part of the conversation, bringing back Wash and Eric Young as the press conference will come your way live at 11. If you're just tuning in, Brian Snitker stepping down as the manager of the Braves, and future plans, and I'm sure Snit will be there to say farewell to everybody, will be announced at 11 o'clock live here on The Fan. Ron's up next in Marietta. Ron, welcome to Cellini and Dimino here on The Fan.
Hey, guys. So traditionally, the Braves usually like to hire from within. And I don't think they're going to hire somebody who doesn't have managerial experience. And for me, it comes down to two people, Walt Weiss or Ron Washington. And I think it's time for Walt Weiss to have a shot. He knows his team. He knows the organization. There would be no surprises. And not that Wash would be a bad choice, but my question on him is, how is his health these days? He did have some health issues recently, if I'm not mistaken. So that's my thoughts.
Well, Ron Washington, Chris, you brought it up earlier because of the health challenges, probably isn't going to be a manager, but you would love to have him on the staff. Yes. And if you're going to stay in-house, Walt Weiss, who's got managerial experience,
no doubt,
and you want managerial experience, according to Ron, maybe that's their philosophy, it makes the most sense.
Walt Weiss has done his time, and if that's a thing.
If that's what you want.
He's had an opportunity to go a couple of places and didn't. I know that for a fact. He liked it here. He was really happy with the relationship with the organization, and we'll find out. It's not a guarantee. Look, the next guy in line is not a thing anymore. We don't have in waitings very often. Just because he was here and he was the guy that you go, wait, he was the next guy in line. What's the succession plan? It doesn't work like that in sports. You give me the last time you knew the succession plan going forward. Skip Schumacher, but it's only a one-year deal. Do I see him sliding into the Rangers job? Could you pry him away? Once he was hired by the Rangers, that plan of Bochy, he leaves, that guy slides in. But that's a one-year relationship, and the guy wasn't in the dugout. Give me the last time you saw the succession plan.
I mean, nothing comes to mind off the top of my head, and now could it be Walt Weiss? Joel in Atlanta, welcome to Cellini and Dimino here on the Fan 680 and 93.7 FM and the Fan app.
Good morning, guys. I think we got a changing of the guard now. I mean, we're losing a piece of Atlanta Braves history with Snit being gone or leaving. I know he's still going to be around, but yet, I mean, he has been with these players for all these years. We're losing something there. I mean, what other organization has a guy that's been this integral part of their team for the last 40, 50 years? And as far as who I want next, I put my faith in AA. He knows what he's doing. I'm good with that.
And continuity, yeah, I mean, that's something that Joel has talked about. It's been there, and now will that string be broken? Is that something Alex Anthopoulos wants to do, go outside of the organization? 404-231-1680. We'll take some calls over the course of the program. Brian Snitker not returning as the manager of the Braves. The Braves put out a press release. They'll have a press conference live that you will hear live at 11 o'clock. So 22 minutes from now, right here on The Fan.